Welcome back to Web Workshop, brought to you by Zorrow Tech IT Solutions. In this session, we'll explore HTML quotation elements. These elements help you format quotes, abbreviations, contact information, and more in your web pages. Let's dive in. HTML blockquote for quotations. The blockquote element is used to define a section that is quoted from another source. Browsers usually indent blockquote elements to make them stand out. Here's how it works. You start with an opening blockquote tag. Inside the blockquote, you add the quoted text. You can also use the cite attribute to specify the source of the quote. Finally, you close the blockquote with a closing tag. You can quote a paragraph from a website and include the source link using the cite attribute. Let me demonstrate this in VS Code. If you're new to VS Code and want to learn how to install it and set up a simple HTML project, we've already covered that in a previous video. You can check it out by clicking the iCard above. Watch as I create a blockquote and see how it looks in the browser. HTML Q for short quotations. The Q tag is used for short quotations. Browsers automatically add quotation marks around the content inside the Q tag. Here's how it works. You start with an opening Q tag. Inside the Q tag, you add the short quotation. You close the Q tag with a closing tag. For example, you can use the Q tag to quote a short phrase or sentence. Let me show you how this works in VS Code. Watch as I add a short quotation and see the result in the browser. HTML Abbr for abbreviations. The Abbr tag is used to define abbreviations or acronyms like HTML, CSS, or ASAP. You can use the title attribute to provide the full form of the abbreviation. Here's how it works. You start with an opening Abbr tag. Inside the Abbr tag, you add the abbreviation. You use the title attribute to specify the full form. You close the Abbr tag with a closing tag. Let me demonstrate this in VS Code. Watch as I add an abbreviation and hover over it to see the full form. HTML address for contact information. The address tag is used to define contact information for the author or owner of a document. It can include an email address, phone number, or physical address. Here's how it works. You start with an opening address tag. Inside the address tag, you add the contact details. You can use line breaks to format the address properly. You close the address tag with a closing tag. For example, you can add your name, website, and physical address inside the address tag. Let me show you how this looks in VS Code. Watch as I add contact information and see how it appears in the browser. HTML Cite for work titles. The Cite tag is used to define the title of a creative work, like a book, movie, or painting. Here's how it works. You start with an opening Cite tag. Inside the Cite tag, you add the title of the work. You close the Cite tag with a closing tag. For example, you can use the Cite tag to reference a famous painting or book. Let me demonstrate this in VS Code. Watch as I add a citation and see how it looks in the browser. HTML BDO for bidirectional override. The BDO tag is used to override the text direction. For example, you can make text flow from right to left. Here's how it works. You start with an opening BDO tag. You use the dir attribute to specify the text direction, like RTL for right to left or LTR for left to right. Inside the BDO tag, you add the text. You close the BDO tag with a closing tag. For example, you can use the BDO tag to display text from right to left. Let me show you how this works in VS Code. Watch as I add a bidirectional override and see the result in the browser. Recap. Let's quickly recap what we learned today. The Blockquote tag is used for long quotations. The Q tag is used for short quotations. The Abbr tag is used for abbreviations. The address tag is used for contact information. The Cite tag is used for work titles. The BDO tag is used to override text direction. Assignment. Here's a simple assignment for you. Create an HTML file named quotes.html. Add the following elements: a block quote with a quote from your favorite book or movie, a Q tag with a short inspirational quote, an Abbr tag for an abbreviation like NASA or UNESCO, an address tag with your contact information, a Cite tag for your favorite book or movie, a BDO tag to display text from right to left. Open the file in your browser and share a screenshot of the output. In the next class, we'll dive into HTML lists. You'll learn how to create ordered lists, unordered lists, and description lists. Get ready to organize your content like a pro. Thank you for joining this session of Web Workshop. If you found this class helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tutorials. Happy coding, and I'll see you in the next class.